Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Here's today's question. I know you mentioned mindset, but is there anything else? What do you think is the biggest thing holding people back from building a successful real estate business, and how can they overcome it?
I would say another one, and this was something else I learned too, is finding people who complement your weaknesses. So self-awareness. I learned this from Gary Vee in terms of his content that he has. But one thing I want to mention is self-awareness. So being understanding, and this takes humility too, being able to go out to, let's say, people who are close to you and determine, get their feedback on. So one thing recently, full transparency, I realized I'm not a good manager. For the longest time, I always wanted to be a manager. And that is when I'm telling something or delegating something to someone on staff, that if it comes down to the third or fourth time and telling them something, it's just not good in terms of that relationship and me just coming down on that person. So ended up hiring someone who enjoys managing multiple people within the organization. So that was one thing, is just being aware of the strengths that you have, and then also the weaknesses and your blind spots, and then putting people in place to complement. Because if, say, one of my previous relationships that I had as far as business was the partner, he was more of a introvert, operations behind the scenes, running financials and the numbers. I was more of the extrovert, face of the company, bringing on investors, getting kicked in the face on acquisitions. That was something he was not interested by any means of actually doing. So that's one thing, is being self-aware, and that delegating in the areas that you're weak in, and focusing and honing more on your strengths.
I think that's so important because a lot of times people tend to reach out to people that are like them, and they want to partner with people that are like them. And I mean, that's great from one perspective because you get along well and, you understand the things each other likes. But then again, like you said, when you're building a business, you need somebody that complements your weaknesses so that you can build a fulfilled team and grow that way.
Yeah, and you don't want to constantly keep butting heads with, if you're both marketing, then what about all the other things around that you it's just more holes that you have to ultimately fill.
Everybody that's been successful that I've heard of, I've never personally, everybody I've talked to, everybody I've read, everything I've ever studied, nobody has ever said, fix your weaknesses. Everything I've read is double down, triple down, quadruple down on your strengths and go with that. So just being able to partner with somebody that can fulfill your weaknesses, I think that's so huge.
And that's funny you say that too, because that was a limiting belief that I always thought it was the other way. That, yeah, you have to, and those were, I don't know if it was books I read, but also in school, they say, fix your weaknesses and become better, well-rounded. It's like,
I suppose that's why schools build great, well-rounded employees, but not always the best entrepreneurs. That's all for this episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.